Voice with the NRP. This and every Monday, 8:30 to 10 p.m. Join host Stephen Semanas and the NRP candidates as they amplify your voice.
Good evening. I'm Stevenson Manners with Your Voice with the NRP for Monday, November 17th. As the music outgoing indicated, Christmas is fast approaching. 2025 is almost at its end. With me tonight for the next 90 minutes, St. Thomas big man Rohan Alves, still basking in the glory of St. Thomas's Primary School Jaguars winning the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla Primary School Championship. And of course, his daughter starred in the tournament and in the final. Good evening, Rohan. Always a pleasure to have you.
Good night, Steve. It's good to be here. It seems like it was yesterday I was here. The rotation is moving pretty fast. Pleasant night to regulars and to those who are joining us for the first time. It is always good to be on Your Voice as we continue to do our best as we amplify the voice of our constituents and those who call Nevis home. I want to begin by extending condolences to my extended family there in Brown Hill and the passing of my uncle, my father's brother. I think most people knew him as Judge.
Mm-hmm.
And so he would have departed to be with the ancestors, and so to my father's side and to the others, extending my condolences. Funeral services on Saturday. To those, others who are probably having difficult times, whether mourning the loss of a loved one or just the challenges of life, I just want to encourage you to keep going, and to hold on to what we know is God's unchanging faithfulness towards us, and I'm hoping that you will find comfort in His.
Let's take this call. Sometimes our callers are letting us know whether we're coming through loud and clear. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice.
Good evening, Mr. Manners. Good evening. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing very well.
Well, I call in to share my sentiments to some people who assisted me over the weekend. I took a eye surgery down here in St. Kitts at the eye specialist on this road. They call the Newtown Bay Road office.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy that I gotten this surgery, and the people who look after me is Mr. James Warner of Boardwalk, and his wife look after me over the weekend, and I thank them very much. I also thank the doctors and the nurses at the JNF hospital who assisted me, even though when I was on the operating table, telephone ringing, I just had to put up my finger. People appreciate what is going on, and I thank Mr. Warner and Mrs. Warner that they do a marvelous job. Also, my son, Justin Huggins, who hold the fort until I come back. And I thank God that I'm alive. I have a little pain in the eye, but never mind, I will overcome, Mr. Manners. So,
yeah.
Again, thank you, and may God bless you all. Thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Warner of Boardwalk. May God bless them. Thank you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. I hope that very soon you'll be able to sing like Johnny Nash.
Yes, thank you very much.
I can see clearly now.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're the earliest caller for the night. And as usual, you're free to call us when we get into the heart of matters a little later. So thank you very much and get well soon. So, Rohan, you were...
Yeah. Yes, so just condolences. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. To those who are celebrating, be it a birthday or an anniversary, just want to share in your celebrations. Of course, I know birthdays are very special to some people, and so happy birthday to those of you celebrating this week or in the past weeks. And anniversary blessings to you as well, to those who are celebrating. Steve, sports continued. I think it was the high school challenge that went on, and congratulations to CSS, who, by all indications, would have gotten the best of the Jesus Panthers in the netball and football series. And so congratulations to them, and commiserations to the Panthers. Next year is always an opportunity to come back. Primary school football, of course, we ended the National Bank sponsored primary school football on a Sunday. And of course, it was a good Sunday for St. Thomas's Primary as we repeated our championship, back-to-back championship. And so I want to extend congratulations to all the players and to those who were given special recognition, to all the players who were awarded best players for their schools. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to the Ivor Walters Primary. They would have placed fourth. The Charlestown Primary, who captured third. Joycelyn Liebert Primary, who were the regular season champions, going undefeated in those 9 games, and copping second place. And of course, to the Jaguars, congratulations on your championship. Tournament MVP went to Ezekiel Dickinson. Congratulations to you. There's a young chap from Joycelyn Liebert who dazzled the tournament with some fantastic goals. He was the top scorer. They had a young uprising player, Marvin Hamilton. He was able to capture that. And congratulations to my young one, who once again became the best female player in the league. And I reflect on the game. First half, she seemed a bit nervous, and we had a quiet conversation at halftime. And I said to her, "Listen, last game you're in Jaguar colors, go win it for your team."
It's the last.
Yeah, she moves on to high school
the
next year, and she was able to solidify the lead of the team. Brilliant one-two pass by two of our top players here in Taziel and Ezekiel, who and a great pass, and she was in the position to score. And so congratulations to the team. And I must say congratulations to the coaching staff, who would have put in a lot. They started early in the summer, on weekends. Jamal Hamilton, as Jamie, he's the PE officer assigned to the school, but Kijani Hamilton, and who is the tactician of the team, and John Hamilton as well, they would have contributed and sacrificed a lot of their time personally, and they believe in the team, and so they would have given of that. And so congratulations to them as well. Well done on their coaching of the team. And to our fans, our supporters, man, we not just St. Thomas's Primary, but across the entire spectrum of football, primary school football, day after day, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the park was filled with supporters of the primary schools. And it is, for me, my hope that in time to come, that transcends to high school, and give our teenagers that level of support in their sporting discipline as well. And so to the supporters, St. Thomas's Primary and all other primary school, well done. I mean, what a tournament it was, and one of the more competitive tournaments in the past 3 years. As a matter of fact, we had 6 schools fighting for the last 4 spots for the semi-finals, and that is a testament to the level of play. Particularly pleased to see that there were young female players who caught the eyes of many spectators. There was this young one from Elizabeth Pemberton Primary who was always in the fray. Once that ball got into the 18-yard or 6-yard box, she was always there. And I think some of them, hopefully more of them, will be joining the national program, being a part of the training team there, and getting more opportunities to play football. So congratulations to all schools, congratulations to the organizers, and well done.
Yeah, well, let me give kudos to the organizers, of course, the Ministry of Sports and the Ministry of Education. They did an awesome job. And of course, I noticed that I think it was the day after Minister Liebert and the delegation from both sports and education turned up at the St. Thomas's Primary to show their respect to the Green Giants. Basically, it's good to see. As you said, the game is moving to another level. As a matter of fact, I was on the southern side, I think that is, with Glenn Herbert, who was no mean footballer in his day. Played for the Charlestown Secondary, came up under the great Lester Blackett. And he was so moved that he said, listen, I have to put in a call to Winston Bakun Isles, who works in the Cayman Islands. And he was a video call to show him the crowds which assembled at E.T. Willard Park on Sunday last. And I was able to join into the conversation with Bakun, who was extremely pleased as one of the foundation builders of football in Nevis to see where we are at the moment. Seems as if it's overtaken cricket in Nevis.
Yeah, many people in conversation share that sentiment, and you know, I would have said cricket is next in terms of primary school cricket, and how do we get to that level? It didn't happen overnight for football. I think there were certain changes that were made in terms of the playing space. They moved from having the tournament during school time to after school, which was the first step in getting supporters to show up to the park and parents an opportunity to see the youngsters play, because once the games were being played during school and during work hours in particular, parents were not able to do that, and so that changed to a 3:30 or 3 o'clock start to the games, granted patrons the opportunity to come to the park and to see that. And so maybe in terms of cricket, we move in that direction as a first initial step. Cricket has its own following, and primary school sporting events, no matter what they are naturally exciting. And so I am hopeful that we get to that point where we can say, well, we can play cricket after school. Of course, they are played in two different windows. Primary school football being played in the first semester, in the first term, and primary school cricket being played in the last term. And even in conversation with some of the people closest to the organization and the primary schools, is maybe there is it's a little too close to the end of school, and maybe we ought to look to move it into a different window. And so maybe those are conversations to be had in terms of how do we energize the primary school cricket and to give the cricketers that same exposure to large crowds and that kind of excitement and environment that can push them into the direction that we are hoping that they can take, and to give them that impetus to want to play more cricket.
Well, one of the points I made to Glenn is that in Nevis, we don't celebrate enough. So I said to him, I hope it doesn't end last Sunday. The youngsters are on a high. Everybody feels good about it. What do you do to round out the year? Nevis has not had a sports award ceremony for God knows how long. And I speak about celebration a lot because I said we don't do enough of it. I remember when we celebrated Willett at 50, I made the point that one of the greatest things that had happened in sports was when Minister Lofton Brandy started the Sports Museum. That is lying somewhere in a corner in the Solomon Arcade and is not celebrated enough. But in addition to that, in a short window of 5 years, Lofton Brandy brought us the Palm Awards. I think the first winner was Kervin Wallace. People dressed up, went down to the Four Seasons to see our great singers. Every week now I watch Kittishan Superstar with Chico Gishad. And that's been running for a long time. So Brandy tried to celebrate our singers, and he also started the Boys Choir. Three of the greatest institution events some which maybe have been allowed to lapse. And so I would love to see the education people and the people in sports allow these youngsters the opportunity to dress up sometime in December. Have an evening for them at the Malcolm Gishard Park so that they could be celebrated. Those are moments they will never forget. So I hope that the organizers don't leave it there at last Sunday, but show some recognition to these youngsters who had the sports-loving people in the palm of their hands. Indeed. And it was good to see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, you know, one of the things I said to a colleague on Friday while we were doing our motorcade.
Oh, you had a motorcade this morning?
Yeah,
oh, my word.
And it goes back to the very same point you were making about not celebrating enough. And I said, if it is one thing that we are going to do at St. Thomas is that we are going to celebrate our athletes. We're going to celebrate our students. No two ways about it. And that tradition goes way back. It is a way of honoring our children's commitment and their dedication to whatever it is that they do, be it academics or sports. And you are so right in speaking about how do we culminate a year and December. Perfect timing. We would have had all sports meets. We would have had the mother of all sports meets in inter-primary. We would have had cricket. We would have had, and we can add this year, the netball and football challenge at the secondary level. We would have had inter-primary and all, inter-high and all those other activities. And we culminate with football. And so we have enough areas to cover to have an award ceremony, and we can go. I can go back to. I think I saw recently some basketball as well. Whether the Eagles were playing over in St. Kitts or it was the Cotton Ground and Church Ground Basketball League. In every area we are finding, and cricket, of course, can't forget cricket. And congratulations to Carlisle on being unopposed elected to the Nevis Cricket Association's presidency again. There is enough there to spark a fire within the sporting realm to have this kind of award ceremony, and as you said, to allow them to dress up
and their parents too.
And it does wonders. People may think it's just an award ceremony, but these activities and that people cherish and hold on to for a very long time, and so. I would agree with you on that and hope that whether it is this current dispensation or the one to come, that we find it necessary to recognize our young people and our sporting men and women. And I'll go further that, Steve, that we do that across the spectrum of service, whether we are doing it in healthcare, whether we're doing it in agriculture, whether we're doing it in education. That little extrinsic motivation can go a long way, and it can generate a greater level of productivity among our civil servants. And so, that is something that definitely we can look forward to moving forward.
All right. Before I forget, let me join you in wishing condolences to the family of, what's his first name again?
I grew up as Judge.
Judge, yeah. Well, I read it tonight. Yeah. Maureen Bramble posted his funeral, and I smiled because, do you know he's a Gingerland man?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was born he was raised in Box Hill, Gingerland, the same place where my father was born, outside the Wesleyan Holiness Church, and he had the nickname of Box Hill Judge.
Box Hill Judge.
And I said, when I see Shefton, because he's married to Shefton's sister, that I have to ask him how he got that name.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, you're from Gingerland. My grandparents were from Gingerland. So no surprise there. Winston Sadler. Better known as Box Hill Judge. And he was also a jockey in his day. Yeah. I can see him now in his rider's outfit. Yeah. He must have been one of the biggest riders in Nevis. When I say biggest in terms of size, because, riders are normally very small. Let me also sympathy to the family of Selvin Hobson,
would have turned 99 tomorrow. A foundation of the Gingerland Methodist Church, spent 37 years across the pond in England, and up until a few months ago was doing his own shopping, driving a car, a remarkable human being. He passed away last night. So I think we had to do that and pay tribute to those persons. And anybody else in mourning from this program, our hearts are with you at this time. Now, down to the business at hand. Now, you submitted your notes, your talking points, and I couldn't help but notice that number one was CCM failures of the past 13 years. Now, on January 22nd in 2013, CCM came to office. So they start their 13th year in January, right off the bat. It's been a long, long time. A long, long time. Now, in 2017, 8 years ago, Mark Brantley became the Premier of Nevis. Of course, he shunted Van Samre aside and took over the leadership on October 29th at places of all places, NEPAC. It was a Sunday, and Dwyer Stefan came over to Nevis, and he presided over the inauguration. Brantley said at that time that Moses was passing the baton to Joshua, and that he wanted to take Nevis to the promised land. So of those near 13 years, Mark has been Premier of Nevis for 8 of them. 8 of those 13 years. And we know what has happened in those 8 years. The promised land has seemed further and further away. As a matter of fact, a day last week, I ran into a stranger in one of the supermarkets. And you know me, I engage people always. And that person told me that she was visiting Nevis and has done so regularly for the last 8 years. And then she told me that she is a nurse in St. Lucia. It was around the same time that Philip J. Pear had announced the elections. So we got engaged in the politicking and talking about elections in St. Lucia and Gonzal in St. Vincent looking for a 6th term, etc. And when she parted, this was her parting shot. You guys have been working on a hospital for 8 years. I've been coming here for 8 years, and you guys have been working on this for 8 years. In fact, 8 years and 7 months. That is a serious indictment. I believe you'd want to start right there.
Yeah, might be careful. He doesn't hear. He might shoot back that St. Jude's hasn't been completed yet. You know how he operates. And you're so right. And I think that is the perfect place to start when we talk about the importance of certain critical infrastructure. And the hospital is one of those things. We were not, and I think if we go back, we can see the grandeur of the pictures that were shown to the division public of what the hospital should look like and should have looked like in a few years after the official start of that. And we are going remarkably on a decade, and yet the hospital still in a coma. And that is what, for me, I have sort of focus on. How did we get here? And when I say here, I mean how did we get to the point where it seems as if the desire of the NIA, now seems to be trading as destiny, is hell-bent on giving a nation something it doesn't want, something that it is saying no thank you to. And it is not just me saying it. When you look at the broad cross-section of the division community and in part the Kittian community of people who are asking serious and relevant questions of this particular project, one can agree that there is more pushback on it than there is any push for it. And we probably get into the discussion as to what is the reason for that. Why is that there is this go fast, go hard, non-stop approach by the NAE to bring a destiny project to the island of Nevis? You spoke so rightly about the promise and the promised land, and the promise has not seen the land, and so there is no promised land. And we have had a lot of promises, Steve. When you look at the total number of hotels that we were promised, undelivered. When you look at the promise of a fully functional and completed Mondo Nevis Athletic Stadium, undelivered. When you look at what was promised at the Holy Water facility, and you look at what is being produced by neighboring islands, and you begin to wonder, is this the best that we can get? We were promised a music industry for the young people so inclined. That never happened. We were promised development or the redevelopment and the investment of millions in the E.T. Willard Park. Nothing. We were promised poultry farm. Nothing. We were promised so many other things. I can go back to dog farm. I don't know why he promised that, but that too, still undelivered. We have not had any significant investment in schools' physical plans to say that we have at least one modern school facility used as a pilot project to see what changes or what additions or subtractions we may need to do into getting all the our schools on that particular path. We had COVID, and the lessons of COVID in education seem to have fallen by the wayside. All of these things, Steve, had they been completed, would have had significant positive impact on the division landscape, whether it is social or economical. And what, for me, has been the case of this CCM administration is simply always to placate to the emotions of people, and never with any intention to deliver on those promises. Because what he and the party that governs now has done well is to win elections. And I think he has figured the formula that if he's able to tap into people's emotions long enough, he can get them to do what he wants them to do. At some point in time, people are going to recognize that the reason why they elect governments to office is for life experiences. And so there are certain things as humans, as you grow, your expectations grow with that. Your hierarchy of needs are a little bit more expansive, and you want certain things to be fulfilled. And after they say you can do what you want, but not for as long as you want. Time longer than twine, and I think he's running out of both time and twine, in the sense that there's not much more he can promise without deliverance. Because I think divisions have seen time and time again that this is a party of promise, and there's no
of promises, not
promises. And thanks you for the correction of promises, and no positive planning, no positive production, no positive purpose. Simply to tell people that we are going to do this, and when that doesn't work, they go back to the old playbook of saying it is NRP's fault. It is NRP's fault that the Mondo surface or the Nevis Athletic Stadium isn't finished. It is NRP's fault that the hospital wing now lay in a coma going on 10 years. It is NRP's fault that there was no investment made in the musical industry as promised to the youngsters, or into the E.T. Willard Park made to the cricketers. And so we have seen the playbook inside and out, and it's not working now. And so we get to this point now where he has to promise big. It is what the young people say, go big or go home. And so he has promised big with the hope that the sheer size and the so-called benefits of this particular investment would again play to the emotions of our people and would again cause them to stop and think, what if? But I want to share with our listeners and our viewers, we have seen the what ifs. And there has not been anything positive. There has not been anything beneficial for our people to gain from those emotional arguments. And we can go back. The cost of living and the standard of living is out of the reach of many of our people. And that is a fact. The purchasing power now is next to nothing. You go to the supermarket with $100 and you in sheer awe of what you get with $100. And so one of the things that they promised early too and chastised the NRP about was the standard and the cost of living. And many people now must ask themselves, are they any better off today than they were at the time of these promises and subsequent to these promises? Because let us not forget that this particular administration had access to more than 1.2 billion Eastern Caribbean dollars. And our people still cannot see completed projects that should redound to their benefit. What is it that we would have gotten from the emotional argument of fair share? Still waiting. Because for many of us, we don't know what the fair share arrangement or the report says, because that probably still somewhere hiding. And so there is nothing in there. Well, in terms of we don't know what is in there, and so we don't know what we're supposed to get. And you would have gone into government, met a revenue sharing agreement that was given Nevis millions of dollars in revenue sharing prospect. And you pulled away from that, and so you took away what was a regular payout to the people of Nevis and replaced that with an argument of fair share that you now cannot fulfill. As far as you're concerned, as far as your administration is concerned, you're outside in the yard playing cricket or soccer or whatever, it pitching marbles. What did we get, Steve? We got an increase in hospital bills, in the cost of service. We got an increase in water service. We got an increase in electricity service. We got an increase in solid waste management collection fees. We got an increase in land tax. And so everything that was going to add a financial burden to our people, that was increased. Our auxiliary workers or non-established workers were sent home without being able to collect their full payment and their full payouts. And it is simply because this government, one, doesn't have the interest, doesn't have the capabilities of generating ideas and policies that are going to be positive, that are going to generate economic wealth for our people. They don't have that. They don't have people's interest at heart, and so they're in go lazy mode, and they're not doing what they ought to do. They're not doing what they should do. And because of that, we find ourselves in these particular situations. For them, it is a desire to have a quick fix to whatever the problem is. And there must be a better approach to that. And so time after time, we have heard the promises, and time after time, we have seen the failures of those. And so with all those, with the promises unfulfilled, not being able to generate any income revenue earning projects over that period of time, and then the heavy taxation of our people, I think divisions are on that particular path now. What they're saying, it is time for this particular government to go, and that is why we find ourselves here now, as I said, in this go big or go home scheme, where it is another attempt to play at the emotions of people in a hope to persuade them to vote a particular way. and you can go to all the facts of thousands of jobs. What are the thousands of jobs? Still just saying thousands of jobs, and I think people should recognize that that is a data collection scheme, just designed to collect numbers and to say eight out of 10 people want this, or there are hundreds of applicants, or hundreds of applicants for jobs that are not present. And these are people who may have gone here to see what is possible, and you look at it, considering the environment that we're in, and people are looking for jobs, that is going to happen. So that is where we are at the moment, Steve. And of course, as I said, you go through the program, some questions that may come through as to why and why are we here, and why is the government now seeming to be a subsidiary of Destiny? Because for me, Steve, it just doesn't make sense. Any right-thinking person with this level of pushback and questions would take a step back, would really pause and consider, and there is no pause and there is no consideration, so something else is going on.
Yeah, well, I just checked my phone, and of course messages come in from our listeners and viewers, and somebody is reminding me to extend sympathy to Pastor Cicely, originally from Barnscott, and pastor in the Wesleyan Holiness Church, on the passing of her husband James. He's in fact a family member, took part in the Elliott reunion, which took place in August of this year, and he passed away over the weekend. So sympathies going out to Pastor Cecile on the passing.
Condolences to Reverend Cecily Brown from my family, especially Pastor Brown is very close to me and to my family, and so I want to thank the caller, the viewer, for reminding me of the passing of Pastor James. He would have done the christening ceremony for 2 of our children. So that is very special to us. And of course, Reverend Cicely Brown did our wedding band or notice of wedding. She was not on island, so she did not do a service, but very close to us, and so we want to extend our deepest condolences as well.
Yes. Now, you have said go big or go home. Let us reflect that the IMF, in its quarterly report of 2025, said that St. Kitts Nevis's GDP growth moderated to 1.5% in 2024 and is expected to reach 2% in 2025. Both figures, of course, are significantly down on 4.3% growth seen in 2023. And the IMF advocated or urged bold economic diversification beyond seasonal tourism and unstable CBI revenue. So that is the background. Brantley realized that he had to come with something big. When Carleen Lawrence bust the bubble on July 10th this year, and he had to let the story out of the bag, I saw through it right away. You said how he had not delivered on 20-odd hotels, which were promised. But he was promising 3 at a blow. And I knew exactly what he was doing. Brantley was aiming for an election in December, next month.
That was the
hope. That is what he was aiming for. But when Destiny came, Mr. Jansen, and presented for 16 minutes and mentioned nothing about 3 hotels, I know that was supposed to be what Mark Brantley thought would catch the visions. Bear in mind, he loves December, eh? He loves December. On December 14th, 2014, he marched Timothy Harris and Sean Richards of PLP and PAM from the Red Cross building behind us to the front porch of the Charlestown Courthouse. He said he had signed, written in his own hand, the Charlestown Accord. So that's his first infatuation with December. Then, after he got the leadership of the CCM, 6 weeks after, he tried to ride in on the coattail of Van Samry, and he went to an election of December 18th. In 2022, when he realized that the NRP was coming hard, his fortunes were down, he called an election for December 12th. And when your good friend Ron Daniel of the Christian Council said to him, "Why are you dividing people at Christmas? We know that politics can be divisive." He told Ron Daniel that you got your work to do and I got my work to do. So he has an infatuation with December. And I'm putting it to you that when he brought the idea of 3 hotels in Nevis, he was hopefully riding towards an election in December. One of the things he don't want to do is to present a budget, because there are many funding gaps, and we'll get to that a little later. So I don't know who he is trying to fool at the town hall meeting. Somebody asked about referendum. Another person said, "Why you don't call an election?" He said, "Election is going to come when it comes." But I'm going to put it to you that his original plan was to go to an election in December, hoping he could use the element of surprise and get past the hurdle of having to start the Alexandra Hospital after 3 years of no work. He has since adjusted the timeline and said he's going to finish that in this term. In January, he said that he's going to finish it by this year. That's the only project that he's going to focus on. But he realized that time has run out. Let's hear what he had to say about the hospital on September 30th.
You would have mentioned early in the year that the Alexandria Hospital was quote-unquote top priority. The question is it still top priority, and has the Taiwan assessment been done on the Alexandria Hospital?
Alexandria Hospital top priority. It remains so. And yes, we have finalized our arrangements with the Taiwanese. Our difficulty, Mr. Jarvis, has really been the resources to jumpstart that project. We have now engaged with a few different agencies and avenues to get the necessary resources to do that project. So we have everything that we need now. We just need to fill that funding gap and be willing to move forward with that. So we're still very, very anxious about that project, and we are still committed to ensuring that that project is delivered during this term to the people of Nevis. That is something that we all, I think, as Nevisians, think about. We all stay up at night thinking about, because we think it's an investment in the future of healthcare on the island. So we are pursuing some avenues for funding on that, but I think that what we need to do, the construction, the details of what we need to do, all of those matters have already been finalized now. So we're no longer waiting on any technical reports. Those are in hand, and we are hoping to engage with a company called OECC from Taiwan. So that is where we are on that. And
Now, we've heard so many stories in 2025. We're waiting on this, we're waiting on that. In September, he finally came with an update. It is a funding gap. That funding gap, he has already said, is supposed to come from the people of Destiny. How does he present a budget in the next 3 weeks? We haven't heard from the Ministry of Finance. No mention of a date. It's normally the first week in December, which is 3 weeks away. How does he come to the people to talk about the hospital, is he going to say them, we have a promissory note from Oliver Janssen? It's going to be fun and games.
Oh, man. I mean, I think in this very same space, I did indicate that the hope was that the Taiwanese government, that relationship we have with them, would have gotten him the resources that he needed to complete the hospital. Because
So you're saying that off the cards, the Prime Minister is concluding a 5-day visit to Taiwan. I would believe he's jetting his way back. When he first got into office, he took along with him Mark Brantley. Don't you think if that was the case, if we were getting funding from Taiwan, that he would have gone to finalize that? So where are we? Where are we with the hospital?
Well, remember Steve, I said that was the case back then. Remember Taiwan changed government most recently. And so, like most governments, a lot of things get paused.
But the smart hospital.
That was already through.
Okay.
Remember, that was already through. That was already signed and agreed to, and so that is there. I think with our case, that wasn't so much the case. We were looking at what were the technical needs of understanding what needed to be done with the Alexandra Hospital, and that progression would have led, in my estimation, to can you assist in the financial stages of that, and that hasn't happened. And you said rightly, he said that Destiny is supposed to help, but see, if we break down the $10 million, that is what was said. We didn't say it; they said it. $10 million, and from that $10 million, 10 million US, I want to be accurate with them, monies will come for the hospital.
10 million? Was it 10?
10 million $10 million a year over 5 years, 50 million.
50 million.
Yeah, it's 10 million a year. That will, funds from that will be used for the hospital. What are we missing? How much is it going to cost? Nobody knows how much it's going to cost to do that. But that 10 million has in the hospital, has in other health facilities across Nevis. I'm sure there were other infrastructural development that would be in there. So, anything in there about debt servicing?
Let's take this. Good evening, caller. Yeah, I think you're on here. Good evening, caller.
And good evening to my friend there. I'm sorry.
Rohan House.
Mr. Alves. Mr. Manners and Mr. Alves, don't you guys find it strange that we're being told to sign up for jobs and apply for jobs and all of this to a gentleman who says he's been around here on the island for the last 10 years.
Anybody ever seen him?
And he doesn't think that's important enough or urgent enough that he helps or he does what he's supposed to do with the hospital, which we've been told that's part of the agreement, than to sit back and talk about all these other people are signing up for jobs that nobody understands what jobs they're applying for. Yet we have a hospital that's literally falling apart with no drips. Where do we go from here? I mean, this whole thing makes absolutely no sense. And I heard you speaking about elections. Now, there was something going on in Tortola over the weekend. So big to the point that the famous string band had to go and perform. Are you sure that's not part of?
If I'm not sure,
Are you sure that's not part of a recruitment for the election that's coming in December?
I am very sure. Let me tell you. I follow the press releases which come out from the government whenever they come out. And I've mentioned it here before. For the whole of this year, you hear press releases saying the Premier is going to, sometimes they don't even mention where he's going. He's going away on government business, right? And I know, whether it is Atlanta, St. Thomas about a week ago, St. Thomas and St. Croix, or Tortola. Brantley is already meeting with people overseas because that is where he sees a potential for him to get over the hump. He's given up on the local people. He himself tell you that he live a he, you live a you, and he doesn't care one jot. Brantley has been using government office to politic throughout 2025.
Well, watch out. How many days do we have between when we can call an election or not? And
it's somewhere between 19 and 21 days. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong there.
Okay,
I know in 2022 it was 19 days. So don't rule out the December election. He sees it as his salvation.
Oh yeah. Nothing will surprise me at this point, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because what I see is some very desperate moves desperate movements
Mm-hmm.
are going on, and I don't think there's enough time to bring the 7,000 to 10,000 people or 15,000 people on island to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back to square one, and we have to get back to expats and where they are. But whatever it is, it's absolutely frightening that you get sick and get to a hospital that has no drips. If something happens to you and you call the ambulance, that's one of the first things they do is hook you up to the drip, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if the hospital have no drips, the ambulance have more drips than the hospital.
It's amazing.
I mean, what is it that's really happening to us here? How did we get here? Let me
tell you something. After the Premier said that we are at a point now where we have the money, we don't have to ask any more technical questions, the Minister of Health, who has been silent for most of this year, should have come forward and say, listen, based on the information we have, we need this amount of money to complete the hospital and roll out a plan. They're still quizzing themselves about it. Because as I said, where we stand right now, unless they've already signed off with Destiny, I don't see how that money can be in hand for him to come to say in a budget that we have the funding for it. We know that these people want to get in here desperately. So maybe they'll pass some money. But I don't know that he can come in December the first week and give us a promissory note as to how we can get the hospital moving again. That's why he has said finish it this term instead of a short order.
Mr. Manners, money passed? You don't think the money already passed?
I don't know. Premier say he hasn't signed anything. I know he may not sign the final agreement, but these developers are no fools. And they would have gotten commitment already while they're forging ahead. Do you know they had a meeting yesterday at the Palm Gardens?
No. A meeting for what?
You're not following what's going on around here.
Well, I mean, what's it? Okay, so you know about it, so help me out, Mr. Manners. What was the meeting for? To tell us what jobs to apply for?
When you get off the phone, go to Kelvin Daly's page. He's written very well about it, as he has done. But there was a meeting at Palm Gardens above Four Seasons yesterday where two persons presented on behalf of Destiny. It was a very small crowd. Well, not crowd, a small gathering. But they apparently said they're starting the process of talking to the Nivision people, and more meetings will be coming. But read Daly's page. He writes about it.
Okay.
At the end of it, of course, Oliver Jansen appeared by video to talk to a small group of people.
So we had investors at a meeting here in Nevis yesterday.
One from Canada two ladies presented, one from Canada. If I remember correctly, the other one is from England. Subject to correction.
Okay. Very interesting.
Stay
Very interesting.
stay on top of things, Tessa. Stay on top of things, man.
Mr. Manners, you know what?
Mhm.
At the end of the day, life goes on, huh?
Yep.
And when you see things unfold like this, sometimes it's best to just sit back and watch them fall apart, because that's what's going to happen with this. The unfolding hasn't unfolded very well, and the falling apart will come next. Have a good evening. I'll continue to listen.
Okay, and I want you to listen to this tape, because this tape was on September 12th. Brantley was ready to go. He said that the investors were ready to rumble. Listen.
We now know all that has to be done before this project could commence. If this project is given the green light by all involved, when do you anticipate we could see some activity taking place in that area in terms of clearing of lands and possible construction and stuff like that?
Based on what the developers are saying, they're ready to move now. They're ready to move. They have the resources. They have, other investors who are going to come on board with them in terms of people buying into the project. They're saying they're ready to move. So really it will be a function of the necessary approvals. And then I think once that happens, bearing in mind that no zone can be declared without Parliament.
Yes.
So all that we're saying here, we still have to go back to Parliament to pass this in order for this to become a zone. So there's work still ahead of us. But the people are very serious. They say they've spent a significant sum of money already doing research and all of that. And it seems to me that they're ready to rumble.
Okay, great.
That was September 12th.
Mr. Manners, that's the voice of a very desperate man. And the investors have been around long enough to have deciphered the desperation and how they can play with it. And that's what we're looking at right now. Okay?
Yep.
And when people see a desperate situation or person, they figure out a way how to pounce on it. Okay? And that's what we're watching.
Well,
That's what we're watching. It's a shame, though, that as a leader of an island, a country, and people have had faith and trust in you over the years, that you've not been able to deliver, and at this 11th hour, you're now coming with a lot of foolishness that just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. And to watch you play out in this mode of desperation, it's sad. It's extremely sad. And I'm going to continue to appeal to the people of Nevis. Now more than ever, take off your nonsense chatter and open your ears and listen closely, your eyes listen closely, watch what's going on, because we have something to protect. Our fathers, our grandfathers, our uncles, our family members over the years worked hard to leave that little piece of something there for us across there on that coast of Nevis. And we're not going to sit back and watch nobody come here. We're not going to sit back and watch anybody from Nevis throw it into the hands of a bunch of animals who are going to come here and root it out and dig it out and take it away from us. It ain't going to happen.
Yep.
Divisions, wherever you are, in the name of Jesus, wherever you are, in Nevis, outside of Nevis, wherever you are, speak up, speak out, listen, ask questions, and hold people's feet to the fire. Hold their feet to the fire. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Rohan, it got even more interesting because that is what he said on September 12th. 18 days after, he said this.
There's a tremendous level of discussion that's going on, and if I have not been out there saying much about those details, is because it has been changing. For example, they proposed an agreement, and I think that agreement is now up to version 37. The last time I checked. Remember, it started at 1, and it's now at version 37. So it just tells you the extent of negotiation, renegotiation, issues that are open, close, reopen as you go. So we want, when we do come to the public, that we have something that has been given some reasoned consideration. So that is where we are at this point.
All right, let's take this caller. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice with Rowan Alves.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Myers.
Hi, good night.
And good night to the representative for St. Thomas's, Mr. Isles.
Good night, good night.
You have roots in Cancun?
Yeah, roots in Cotton Ground.
Joshua Isles.
Roots in Cotton Ground, roots in Barnesgard. I have a few in Jessup.
Chindilan.
I have them in Westbury.
Okay. And I had Joshua Isles them just down the road there by Peter them.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you something. This is a desperate man. And a desperate man will grab a straw to save his life. Right? You never in the world you see a leader of a country campaigning for an investor as yet. And you can't see the investor come on the ground to meet the people them.
Exactly.
You never see that they happen. This is history.
Unheard of.
Right? This is history. And he out the campaigning, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that boy, this and that, you hear what he tell the diaspora people, you hear telling the overseas people them, the people them got to listen and understand what the man is really saying and what they up to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, them just say all kind of thing about them, and now you're going to go face them to tell them come vote for you. This man trying to win an election because if he let it go down, he going to watch for him. So he want to get back in power to make sure that he and his wife achieve that $100 million bonus for the sale, you know. Don't fool on yourself, you know, because they don't decide when push come to shove, they gone to the country and left with here in the flames of fire. So people, I got to understand, successful meeting in Bone Hill, you have got to carry on some more.
All right.
You have got to carry on some more. And listen to me, Mr. Isles. You got to be on the ground in St. Thomas's. Don't fool on yourself, you know. Remember money being passed. Don't mind you hear them say money being passed, you know. Don't fool on yourself. Don't take things for granted. Oh, to the wise is enough.
True.
I see what's going on. Continue, educate the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and the world what's going on in Nevis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, caller. Rohan, very important point. The next election is going to be the most moneyed political campaign in the history of Nevis and the history of St. Kitts Nevis. These guys in Destiny, they're loaded and they are prepared to go to the ends of the world to make sure that this happens, right? So money is going to be flourishing in the next campaign. But one of the points you wanted to raise is the government working for Destiny. And that caller said that. They're out there being PROs for Destiny. Let's take this caller. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Your Voice.
Steve, good night.
Hi, good night, good night.
And good night to your guests.
Good night, good night.
I'm Steve.
Yes.
The lady before that young man there was right and ball, the two of them. Money gonna decide the next election. In fact, Steve, in Bastia is a big talk that next year we're gonna get an election, and it looks so.
Both
when
these
you
governments.
hear about the Foreign Affairs Minister and the Prime Minister all over Sofin looking grants is a problem. It is a problem. The Socus University is discover that. Cecil Roberts University don't discover an election just last year by Oxford.
Yeah.
See? And it's eminent. Mark Brantley and Terence Watley's Joe. These guys, it's something new. They begin to think it's Nevis, and watch to see the players them if we live to see an election. These guys, they don't care. They do not care. And we're calling on every young division to understand what the young man just spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot afford to give up children unborn future. I think it's Nevis.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not going to happen. When these guys finish over Nevis, they're coming back here,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And I want them to know, if they ain't have an economic plan for that SSZ, when they come down to Bastille, ready to face some serious demonstration down here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because we're chomping up that. Mark Brantley and Watley Terrence is not going to get away with this. Vol in New York, we're asking you to continue the ball. And every division, especially that lady there who just called a while ago, we's not going to let that go down, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give somebody else a chance to come in. Good night to Nevis and St. Kitts.
Yes, good night. Good night.
Focus.
Yes.
Because we're going to fight with their light to save these two islands. Have a good night, Steve.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, both of these governments, the government in St. Kitts will go to an election in its 4th year. The Nevis Island administration finishes its 1st year on December 12th. They may go sooner, but they'll go in the 4th year as well. None of these governments will go to term.
See, we go back to, and here in my notes, and I said it earlier, government has been subsumed into destiny. And
Mm-hmm.
and I've been around a short while, but in every single development prospect that I've seen, be it here on island or regionally, internationally, developers are front and center.
Mm-hmm.
There is a face to the development. These are the people who are required to sell the development as something that is worthy of local acceptance, something that brings economic and social value to people. That is what we have seen over the years. Now we are into this new, seemingly kind of environment where the premier and government is the one front, center, left, right, north and south, east and west when it comes to Destiny Project.
Mm-hmm.
And it is baffling to me that people are accepting that as the appropriate way in which to do business. We have not, for a gentleman who said he has been in a vision for 10 years,
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen the gentleman in person,
Mm-hmm.
not in passing, nowhere. And he's asking Nevis to part with thousands
Mm-hmm.
of acres of land, and yet he has not found it, or they have not found it necessary or relevant or important enough to come to Nevis to speak with divisions. And so they have seemingly hired the Nevis Island administration to do the bidding. And so we have a government that is setting up meetings, making mandatory meetings of institutions. I understand Six Farmers mandatorily told they had to attend the meeting at Four Seasons.
Teachers coming up.
Mm-hmm. A notice was sent out that they will have a half day on Wednesday because they have a meeting at 12 o'clock. And that period of time, as I know it, were reserved for staff development or professional development. I don't know what professional development is going to happen on that Wednesday. And so it seemed maybe the nurses are next. Maybe hospitality workers will follow. Maybe boatsmen and water taxi operators, they'll come after. And in all of that, we are yet to see, to hear, to be able to be in arm's reach, to have conversations with the men and women who are asking us to sell or to part with division lands for their purposes.
Let's take this caller. Caller, welcome to Your Voice with Rowan House.
Mr. Manners, good night.
Hi, good night. Welcome as usual.
Yeah, and not Rowan Isles, Minister Isles.
Minister Isles. I got to get used. It has a good sound to it.
Yes. Before me get there, Mr. Manners, let me say good night to all the listeners. And me love you first caller. Before you start.
Yes.
Me love when people get thanks like that.
Yeah.
Minister Isles.
Yes.
Me kind of vex with you, you know.
It happens.
You know, because me listen to you
on Friday.
To you actually. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, me actually listen to hear the big shout. Give us 3. You forgot that? Send 3. And when he sent you, what is it going to happen?
Well, you send. We were told to give them 3. That is going to be the best thing for divisions. Trade them in Basti, and I think it is clear that we did send 3. We were promised Fiashi on the back of sending all 3. No Fiashi and 3 can make one.
Remember, they said send 3 and then promise them I go do what? Think back. I forgot that.
No, we haven't. But remind
me. I can't bring that to mind now.
Well, listen. You can no stone unturned. Me here one convention. And me here one lady out there your constituency. Oh Lord, boy, she balled on the place and she plead. Let me give you a message for Guy. Tell she ball, yes, but tell she switch on your side. Alright? Tell she just switch over. And just come over on the other side. I mean, me you know me and you know me and this program.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And listen. You said that one election, Mr. Manners, you said one election. Tell me, in forward, tell me actually what Premier Brantley go tell the people.
Destiny was supposed to.
No, Mr. Manners, no.
That is what he intended.
So, what, you call it people about destiny?
That is what he intended too. But you know, all the presenters on this show have said in recent times, many of the things what you look to a leader for has been missing in all of this. Honesty, truthfulness, deception, subterfuge, obfuscation, everything that you're looking for a leader in all of this, as he tried to hide this project from the visions and wanted to bring it in the dead of night. He has shown all the things which you don't want in a leader.
Well, listen to me, Mr. Manners.
And that is why we are saying, and they're having the same problem in St. Lucia, I read in St. Vincent. They want to know where all the money is coming from. As a matter of fact, last night the Prime Minister got so up in arms, he told the opposition, don't ramp with me, or else I bring in Vice Cartel and popcorn on you. It has become a show in St. Lucia, and with money here, from Destiny, expect much of the same.
Well, Mr. Manners, at time now you should tell the citizens, they bring money problem. Take their money. Take their money, but the point about it, me no see deliver. You get that?
Yeah, we got that.
All right, okay then.
Yeah, the people are wising up here.
Listen for me Wednesday.
Well, I don't know how lucky you'll be, because it's becoming a habit. Goes off island on Mondays.
Me check out. And then, you know what it is, when you go off island, when Mr. Evelyn come, Mr. Evelyn got the program and plan that.
Yeah.
No calls.
No calls.
You check them out?
Yeah, man. And I see how the thing running.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Thank you very much.
Night, everybody.
Yes, good night.
Cool ruler, Miss Bartlett, Jenkins. I get prepared. Okay. Good.
Thank you very much. Let me read this post by Janice Daniel Hodge into the record, because you were talking about it. Whether the government is working for Destiny or getting paid by Destiny. This is what the leader posted this morning. On this good Monday morning, I asked, who is paying for the Destiny consultations? The teachers have to use their working time to listen to the Premier talk about Destiny. Has Destiny paid any money to the NIA as yet to recover processing costs? Or is it the NIA covering all of the Destiny expenses? No regulations, no schedules, no guidelines, no information except what the Premier chooses to say. This extreme lack of transparency regarding the Destiny project is totally disrespectful and unforgivable. We cannot continue like this. The NIA has been having meetings, the Four Seasons ballrooms. Now they're moving to NAPAC. Who's paying? Who's footing the bill? As you do PR work for Destiny. Meanwhile, I'm driving through town today. A fellow flagged me down, tell me he is about to retire or retiring, and he just went to the treasury and there's no money.
There's no money.
No money.
You know, Steve. You know, as I said, you look at a wide cross section of the Univision public who asking questions about this project, and what I realize is happening is that there's no answer to questions relating to how this affects Univisions and how it affects Univisions now and into the future. But there is always something from the Destiny end, something that props up Destiny and this project as being the next great thing. I had some information shared with me, Steve, and I just want to share a timeline with you, and I'll just share the timeline, and maybe, you know, from that we get a sense of how certain things played into each other. In 2012, Janssens became Destiny CEO. In 2012, that's some 13 years ago. In 2014, I was made to understand that there was this Citizenship for Bitcoin program by VEA that was shut down, and he threatened the lawsuit. Interesting to find that. Would be interesting to see what happened after, because I think he subsequently had conversations with Drew, and then some bills were passed in respect to those things.
I remember that.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
In 20th of September 2017, Free Society to form the first libertarian country. There was something else significant happening in 2017. In 2017 as well, we went on to announce at a Nexus conference, and the quote was, "We are purchasing sovereign land from a government to create first libertarian country." In 2020, Graham Brooks was appointed the project manager for Destiny. In July, there was an article that says that VEA moves $8 billion of Bitcoin. I guess however you use it to make payments, something like that. It was also around July that Carleen asked the question.
July 10th, Thursday.
August 5th, Destiny member Professor Bell shares on Freedom City's podcast that his client, Free City Limited, has a big project that is about to be launched.
Do you know that same Bell? I mentioned him last week. He's a legal expert for Destiny, and also a legal expert for Prospero in Roatan in Honduras. In
Honduras.
That's the man writing up these things they're sending to us.
Yeah. Yep. And he went on to say that they have been meeting with top government officials. We move forward to August 11th. And after it was a rumor, and we ought to read our Bibles, record speed passing of a bill in Parliament, and then gazetted, I think was on the 21st of August. And from since that, there has been a destiny firestorm, so to speak. And every facet, I've said this, our society have been asking a wide range of questions, whether it is the legal fraternity, whether it is the chamber, whether it is the Christian Council or the Evangelical Association, be teachers in small quarters and students. Straight across the board, there are questions, good questions, honest questions being asked, and yet the developers are absent to provide answers. And I say the developers because government isn't providing answers to those questions simply because they recognize if they were to be honest with those particular answers, then they would ultimately immediately have no choice but to back away from the Destiny Project. It baffles me that men and women who are ministers and professionals are telling us as divisions that they have a little or no idea of the background. That is unbelievably crazy and an insult to divisions for them to think that we are going to believe that is the case. So if you look at the progression of how things work, and I've said this before, this isn't a yesterday thing. They have been planning for years. When you look at the scope of work involved and you look at the plans and you see how the south side is terraced from top to bottom, there is a clear indication that this is something they have been working on for a very long time. Here's a question for you, Steve. When you look at the scope of work, do we have that critical mass of people to do that kind of work?
Well, they say that this is going to be the Dubai of the Caribbean. Dubai.
You saw the Dubai.
Dubai
project?
has about 94% expats living there. There are very few people who are Dubai born. They have brought in basically slave labor from places like India, Bangladesh, etc., other places in the Middle East to do the donkey work, to build, and they live in very poor conditions.
No, we haven't gotten
I
into
want you to continue that point, and then I want you to talk about the business of fair share, because it's now 7 months and 17 days since the Premier has this document, and we're hearing nothing from it, and I'm sure that fair share would come in handy as we go to budget 2026. I have to step away for a minute.
Sure. I mean, you speak, and I mean, you spoke rightly about the labor and what is and what happened during Dubai, but we haven't gotten to the equipment part of it. And if for those of you who would have seen for those of you who would have seen or have not seen how the creation of those zones and the work that went into it, there's certain equipment that is required to do that kind of drilling and excavation, and I don't think we have that here. And so more than likely you're going to find that those equipment and the required equipment and personnel to operate those may very well have to be brought in. And Steve spoke about fair share. The reality is, we said time and time again that there was no real intent. There was no honest intent. There was no honesty behind the fair share argument. For us, it was an emotional argument. It was simply trying to get divisions riled up. It worked. There are many people who believed, and rightfully so, that the argument was going to be a fruit. 7 months now, there's a report. What is the fear in releasing the fair share report? And I suspect, Steve, is that a lot of things within the fair share report has to do with things that the federal government has responsibility for. And if they are going to look at how the resources are to be shared, those things will have to be taken into account. And those things may have to be subtracted from the amount to be shared, or responsibility may have to be taken by government. And the listing goes on and on. All those programs that are across the board nationally that are paid for by the federal government very well we may have the argument that is the federal government who pays for security and security services and those things attached to that, fire services and so on. And they may be a part of the equation. And I think the argument the Premier might be making, listen, those things can't be added. We are talking simply about what is the gross income. Let us share that. And then however you work out the rest, you work out the rest. Listen, I don't suspect anything from the IMF report or the World Bank report is going to come forth in the budget. And if it does, it's going to be very hard pill to swallow. He may be consuming quite a bit of water during that presentation for that. And as you said, rightfully, is that he was hoping, and you know, I follow your train of thought in the December election, but I think Jansen's missed the trick when he did not announce the hotels, and even to give an indication as to which luxury brands would be coming into. And I asked that question, and I've asked that question. You're talking about and that constant comparison with the Four Seasons. What are the luxury brands that these three hotels would come? Would come? When is construction going to start for these hotels? When would they end? How many jobs, in temporary and permanent, would you get? And that isn't happening. And so it would be interesting to see the crux, or to hear the crux. Of course you're going to get, Steve, you know you're going to get the fluff show when it comes to the budget. Just as all of these so-called consultations and meetings are checkbox activities, because something else is happening. When you look, see, you look at this government and everything that is supposed to be done that is going to give some or shine some light on the government, there is this grandeur of public spectacle, an announcement, or some ribbon cutting, or some shovel something, you know, to start the project. Well, how is it that a project of this nature, this game changer, we can say came out of nowhere? Had it not been for the rumor and the persistence of others in terms of bringing this to light, we may very well have woken up with a signed developmental deal and 6 square miles gone. And we got to ask ourselves as divisions, who made the first contact? Was it us? Was it them?
No, he said
because
they came to him. He didn't.
They came. And they're saying they have been having meetings. And I don't know whether to trust them, he, or the devil.
Let's take this call. They're calling on the stroke of 10 o'clock. Good evening, caller.
Good night, Steve.
Hi, good night.
I want to extend heartfelt condolences to the family of my friend Selwyn Hobson. That is a man that would have served our community, and we give God thanks for his life and his contribution to our...
Caller, you've got something playing in the background, giving us a feedback. Could you turn that down?
I said...
Okay.
Pleasant good night to the family of the late my friend Selwyn Hobson, and give God thanks for his life and his contribution to our development over the years. This is a man that have served and served well. As a matter of fact, it's just the odd, whenever I don't call him, right, he'll send a message to ask me what's happening. You know, and so, well, these are things that happen. And to the family of Judge Euclid Sadler, heartfelt condolences to them as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, and as I said, we've got to ask ourselves some questions. You know, see who is the PRO, the communication chief for Destiny, who is collecting fees for the sales and for this, you know, the sales and the selling and buying of lands. Most importantly, see, we've got to recognize by their admission, and I'm sure millions of dollars have already been invested, and who's doing the processing. We've got to ask ourselves, and I want our people to start to ask these questions, because when you ask these questions, you realize, hold on a minute, the destination project isn't a priority for us. It is not about us. And it has nothing to do with advancing us as a people in a way that is going to be positive, in a way that is going to benefit the majority of our people. And you look at who is doing it, why they're doing it, and you look deep enough and you realize it's about enriching a few.
Mm-hmm.
It is about some people getting while the others are left to, as they would say, pick up the scraps if there's anything less, or to seek to recover and rebuild this place called Nevis. And so what is promised, that is what I want people to ask, because when you look at the voices that are coming forward, the consistency in which people are pushing back, and the veracity in which people are asking questions. And I say this, people are asking honest questions.
Mm-hmm.
People are asking questions because they want to be wiser for what the situation is. And there are no answers. Is there something that has already been given?
Mm-hmm.
And is there something that has already been delivered?
Mm-hmm.
Who is on the hook for Destiny's Pail?
On the hook.
And is there somewhere some secret quid pro quo? Because logically, this doesn't make sense. This constant in-your-face push for Destiny Project isn't in your face. Isn't making sense to me, and I know it's not making sense to a lot of people. When you talk about real development, Steve, we sit down and we look at grassroots development, and how do we build out our country that we can say this is genuinely and uniquely ours?
Mm-hmm.
This is born of the identity of our people. This comes from us as a people. And you sit and you look at a space as the Southeast, and you say, listen, these are short-term, long-term, and medium-term goals. The long-term is to develop the area so that the people who are now present can enjoy the space, and the people who are to come will enjoy the space, and we develop the space in such a way that it allows for future development that meets the time in which people are living. So you look at the space and you say, listen, let us look at putting in some infrastructure. Maybe not all at once, but the amount that you can afford. And you subdivide and you say, well, this first 1,000 acres, this is our SZ or SEZ, and these are the desirables of this particular space. So this space is now redesigned for tourism. And these are the expectations that we have. Not to say, carte blanche, listen, we are going to part with 2,400, how many, acres of land. We have got to seek to develop piece by piece and to give our people the opportunity. When you look at the Southeast Peninsula, there was no road and there was no access. Somebody had a vision to put a road in. The same thing with Long Point, the same thing with Bypass. We did those things. And I'm sure that we have among us the capabilities to look at the space and to plan out properly what we would like the space to be. And, Steve, very well, it may be something akin to what is being proposed, but the dishonesty, the deception, and the way in which it is being done leaves us wondering again, who is on the hook for Destiny? And is there somewhere this secret quid pro quo that we just not know about or we are not seeing? Because what is happening now can't be the way, and it's not something that I've seen in the past in terms of development. I've never ever come across a government 100% working for a developer. I've always thought that in the realm of politics, yes, you go seek development, you partner with developers, but there are certain points where the developers must take the lead. The developers must seek their own marketing strategy into convincing people that this is what is to happen. And as governments, yes, but to be full on, going the length and breadth of Nevis with this destiny. It is going to be a crazy revelation if we are to find out that the development plan was already promised and only waiting signatures.
Yep, it's 8 minutes after 10. I'm not going to keep you much longer because I know you came straight here from work. One of the major disappointments for me is the approach to land. Premier has said from the beginning, government land is not involved. People should be able to sell their land if they want. That is a most flippant approach to what has become our heritage. And for somebody like me who have read about the South Africa situation, the Group Areas Act, who have read Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, have read about George Padmore, who went to Ghana, lived there, and helped Nkrumah make Ghana into the first independent country in Africa. And of course, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who said, get hold of your land and don't let it go. This flippant approach on 36 square miles, just sell it off. Just sell it off. Only bush over there.
Only bush over there.
You know, nothing happening over there for 100 years. It's a flippant approach.
It is.
Tonight, as I left home, I stumbled on a short clip. You know, they're having an election in St. Vincent next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
And the Prime Minister, of course, is seeking a sixth term.
6 consecutive.
Now, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a lot bigger than Nevis, which we know as 36 square miles. I'm sure that what we have heard is far less.
Yeah.
Gonzal was not talking about destiny, but listen to his view on the importance of land.
He wants to sell the soul of our patrimony, and we will not allow it. So that when you go to the polls, you have to remember this. Friday wants to sell out St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The NDP wants to sell out St. Vincent and the Grenadines, while the ULP wants to protect our patrimony and use our lands and other resources for our own development primarily. He wants to sell the
Senior spokesman, senior politician, Prime Minister since 2001, going for 6th term. And that is his message to the people of St. Vincent and at the same time to the people of Nevis.
Rightly so. I mean, the development, as he said, development has to really come from us as a people. And it must belong to us and we must own it in ways that allows us to enjoy, as he said, our patrimony and to look at development that meets the desires of the Nevisian public. You know, as I wrap up, Steve, you talk about and people talk about it's a private land situation, and it is. But the sale of land is critical to the project. And so we ought not to talk to people about seeking honest answers as to why the lands are being bought or desired to be bought. But yet they day in and day out try to convince people to sell the land, because if they can't get the land that they need, the project finds itself in trouble. And so hypocritical to say it's a private land issue when you fully well know you are pushing on one end of that argument, and that particular end is for them to part with their land so that you can go ahead and say, listen, the lands have been delivered and the project can go ahead, and that is part of the reason for me to have second and third and fourth and fifth thought and reservations about this project. And of course we look at the background of the people who are trying to find themselves and to purchase, as they would have said, and to create the first country of that sort. You know what they call it? They didn't say a project or development. We call it a sovereign country.
It's called an enclave. Rohan, it's been great having you. Of course, we've had multiple people, lawyers, civil society, columnists, weighing in on this very important subject, maybe the most important subject in our island's history.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody has said it better than Mark Brantley's great friend. Multiple Calypso King of Nevis, and 2, or is it 3 times Federation King, Astral. They're coming back again, they're here.